we were talking about this before we started recording, but the Olympics is happening right now, and um, Ayub was saying how he's very excited. Ayub, you wanna tell us how excited you were?
I was excited to an extent that when COVID happened and it got postponed to 2021, I was sad. That's like it's not something like I look forward to it and wait for 4 years until it happens. Like I'll be talking about it every month or every day, but it's just when the year of the Olympics comes, I get excited when that month gets closer. So I am looking forward to what's going to happen this year and see what talents come out of this Olympics, whether it's the football or the volleyball. I mean, I'm talking about my interests, or the
Hmm.
gymnastics, and I would say the swimming.
Yeah, and
What?
like I understand like you being frustrated or like rather disappointed that it was delayed, and like so many other events around the world, they were either outright canceled, delayed, or because of the COVID situation.
Yeah,
Like I know, like back in the States, a lot of events were just like they postponed it indefinitely, uh, or they just performed the games, had the matches without any audience
yeah,
or crowds at the stadiums. Like a was a big thing like that just finished was I think the Copa America and like the Euro Cup, which I can understand. I can understand someone being more frustrated and disappointed that those events were delayed. I mean, soccer is a worldwide phenomenon. My argument is, and it still is, that nobody actually gives a shit about the Olympics. And it's only those 4 years, at the end of those 4 years, whenever they come around, that suddenly everyone's patriotic and everyone wants to watch whatever
Y-
sport is being on display.
yeah, exactly. Exactly what I said. Like it's for me, it's not something I wait for or look towards to. It's just
Yeah.
when it comes, I'm like, oh, it's something to watch on the TV, because in the end, it's uh, like life is just uh, moving fast and everything around us is just sad, like whether it's COVID or whatever sad news, you turn on the TV is just depressive, like to an extent, I don't even watch TV, not even use it for Netflix. So these, when it comes to
Mm.
sports, it's like something interesting that's not, you put all the problems of the world aside and just enjoy your time for that whatever 1 hour, or let's say football, as you said, 90 minutes,
Yeah.
or the races. It's something that gets you out of the problems of the world, what's happening around us.
Hmm. Well, that's a fair enough assessment, saying that's just like a time, not a time waster, but kind of like a release from
Yeah,
reality.
yes, like an
Yeah.
exit.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Like when you have like your country's delegations have like decent athletes and your country actually gives a crap about like putting effort into their Olympic sports programs. But for people who don't know me, I'm Syrian by like ethnicity. My father's Syrian. I'm from there. They don't really have the cream of the crop representing Syria in the Olympics right now. Yeah, and who do they got? Like, if you go look at the pictures and like these people's bios, like it looks like they got anyone from the Hada and like, hey man, you wanna come play in the Olympics? And I'd be surprised if half of these fuckers don't like go and like rip up their passport in Japan and just be like, I'm Japanese now. So,
I mean, I mean, uh, I think you have in table tennis some Syrians.
yeah, like I saw the picture of the table tennis girl, some Yada, I think her name is, or some or other. Here, let me look it up. Table tennis
Yeah, women's single.
Olympics.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, what's her name? Oh, Hind. What Hind Zara? Is that her? Oh no. Let's see. Overview.
You have a diver. Oh,
Ever.
this
Man, we
is.
don't have water in Syria.
I mean, you, but honestly, look, you have some good stats for,
Hind Zaza. This
and
girl's picture looks like it was taken with a Nokia 6600.
the
Like
panda.
they couldn't even afford they couldn't even afford a decent photo for this poor girl. Uh, but yeah, that's again, that's another thing. That's another one of my points. Is like even if you look at the ratings, go look at the historical ratings of the Olympics. Is nobody actually gives a shit about the Olympics. Like you said, it might be a good release, a nice release to like get away from everything in life, and then like suddenly everyone becomes patriotic and wants to like cheer on these people who at
Hmm.
these specific sports. But nobody cares. No, nobody's an avid discus thrower follower. Like they don't have the posters of the discus thrower on their walls. How many people are like, like? Let's be real, yani.
Yeah, instead of
But
instead of
I can understand. Like it's nice. Like I remember when Michael Phelps was like breaking records for and everyone was like around the world, like
yeah,
regardless if you were American or not, they really wanted to watch Michael Phelps perform because he was like a freak of nature.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, the Olympic ratings have gone down by like a significant amount, like the almost double digits, I think, for each consecutive Olympics since the 2012 Olympics, I think, something like that. Or was it
2000,
12?
2012, 2016, yeah, 2020, correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So each consecutive Olympics, I think they've gone down like percentage wise in the double digits. So, but we'll see. I guess. I mean, you're in Diani. For also for people who don't know, Ayub, you're like you said, Tunisian, and I mean, you guys have decent athletes with like significant like government backing and actual money being thrown into it. So,
Yeah, we have some. We have this open water swimmer. Sorry, he does the
mhm,
10K marathon swimming. He won the gold medal in 2012 in London,
mhm,
and also the athletics. It's the 3,000 meters basically. 3 kilometers. Habib Al Gharibi, she also got a gold medal in the marathon.
mhm,
Uh, in These are the ones in London. Also, Osama Malouli got in the 1.5 kilometers. He got bronze in London, and then in 2016, fencing and taekwondo and wrestling, we got bronze. So they do well, but it's not. They participate,
damn
but
man,
they do participate, but it's just like the
man, you're
problem
like an
is,
Olympic historian, man.
yeah,
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't give a shit about the Olympics, but I can go out and wager or go out on a limb saying a lot of people don't give a shit about the Olympics.
of
Truly.
course, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do have one of our friends who, when we mentioned the Olympics, he was like, "What Olympics?"
Yes,
So,
that was the biggest example. He was like, "What Olympics are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Dude, the Olympics that's taking place in 2 days, literally.
like,
The
like,
Olympics."
yeah, like then he was like, "Oh, the one where they catch, or they run around with the torch." It's, so it's like,
Like, yeah,
yeah, it proves your point. Like, it depends on like for me, I enjoyed the Olympics since I was a kid because my dad, whenever the Olympics or any kinds of sport, basically, whether it was handball, football, volleyball, anything, he just watches the sports because he enjoys I think it was also for him a kind of exit and a relief from the day-to-day life. Uh,
yeah,
so I think, and I was a kid, I didn't understand anything. I just enjoyed it with my dad. And I grew up, I think I took over the same sense, because when you grow up, you get through the same things our parents went through, the responsibility, you start realizing that the hatred in life and whatever, and just the TV, you turn it on, you just want to throw the TV out of the window. So I think I understand why my dad used to do this. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it depends on like it depends on you how you grow up. Like I grew up watching these things, so I think it just continued with me. Uh, but for you, I thought like you might be interested in this because you know America has a lot of good athletes in the Olympics. So like whether it was the gymnastics or
Man,
swimming or whatever.
man, America. How can I comment on this? It's again, it goes back to to my one point is nobody actually cares. Like yeah, like it's like the World Cup. It's like America in the World Cup. Like nobody in America now it's become better with soccer. I'm talking
Yeah,
specifically or
with the
football.
MLS.
Uh, yeah, the MLS was always there. There were always like the country's own league, like every other country has it. Like there wasn't a significant because we have like what they call American football
Yeah,
or what you call hand egg,
or baseball.
uh,
Also, baseball is very
baseball,
famous.
basketball, hockey to a certain extent, and they have all these other sports which are like miles ahead, like in popularity.
Hmm.
So there wasn't any like effort or interest in soccer. But sure enough, every 4 years during the World Cup, suddenly everyone loves soccer in the States. Everyone gives a shit about like the goalie. And I remember in like what was it? When was the last World Cup when America
18,
was like
2018.
no, before that it was like 2014 or
The one in Brazil?
14 when yes, I believe when America had that one German striker who was playing for the team, and they had the what was the goalkeeper's name? U.S. World Cup 2014. They called him the Secretary in Defense, Tim Howard.
Yeah, Tim Howard. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Was he at a difa? So tall dude. So yeah, that team that was like Americans like were going crazy. They're like, oh, we're going to win it all. I was like, calm down, yani, take it a step back, yani. There's all these other countries who their life, blood, sweat, and tears are like they eat and breathe soccer. But sure enough, every 4 years in America, they give a shit about the soccer in the World Cup, and it's the same thing for the Olympics, I guess. The only people who really like love like the Olympics, I believe, are the athletes themselves. Like they train
Yeah,
so
of course.
hard. They train so hard, like that's their life, and you that's all they do. Like this one
Yeah.
guy who's throwing the javelin, like he's sleeping with that javelin and he's waking up with that javelin. He only knows that pole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess at that point, يعني غصباً عنك, يعني you're gonna have to love that certain sport.
Yes, correct.
But yeah, America doesn't give a shit. America, I find it hard to believe any other country gives a shit about the Olympics until it's time for the Olympics.
Most probably you're right. Yes, like I don't think. I mean, like, of course, the country doesn't give a shit, but I think like the اللي هم like in Tunisia they call it for example اللي هم دار الشباب والرياضة like it's like the house of youth and sports. I think these ones
Hmm.
basically invest their time throughout the entire 4 years to provide and help out the athletes into the training and give them the right treatments and the nutrition and everything. But when it comes to the actual year, I think that's when the country
Yeah,
actually goes in and just like, okay, I'll take all the money and just go.
exactly. And it's not like even يعني الشباب the youth in these government programs or these institutions that
Yeah.
these countries have like where they facilitate like community centers or youth centers where
Mm.
you play sports with the kids and everything. Most kids, yani, even here in Abu Dhabi in the Emirates, when we were growing up, we like you remember we used to play barefoot bilhara in the
Yeah.
neighborhoods, and then we had to get out of the way for cars, and then we
Yeah.
get yelled at when the ball would hit somebody's shop. Uh, And if you ask any of the kids who love soccer, and what did you want to do? It was like, oh, I wish I could. This would be the most common answer. Akid, yani. I want to play for a team. I want to become a soccer player.
Yeah.
And and if somebody's good enough, obviously not here, we're trash. And compared to the European countries, South American,
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. But those people who make it to those club teams and then the national teams, those are the people who get picked for the Olympics. It's not like they get picked for the Olympics, so then they go play for the other teams.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
it's not
mean?
the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why sports like the sports that are in the Olympics, like soccer, footballs, and basketball, those are kind of like misnomers. They're kind of like different than the other sports.
I think they just added them for popularity. I think because
Yeah, yeah,
like I think at one point because the Olympics was there since a long time, and then other sports existed, and these sports are taking the thunder of the Olympics. And usually, like to an extent, where like they happen at the same year. Like look at the Euro 2020, Copa America 2020, and then the Olympics. So people just the popularity was going towards football because football was obviously it's like the sports of the planet Earth,
mm,
and as you said, basketball in America, and of course other countries like a lot of, I mean, yes, basketball in America because you have the NBA, but there is also a World Cup for the basketball. There's like clubs for
yeah.
basketball in every country, volleyball, handball. So these things are gaining more popularity than the Olympics. Therefore, I think they had to put them in the Olympics just to bring the fans to watch the Olympics.
Which is a smart